Aha! So here we are, 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. Welcome everybody to the Purge Call. My name is Richard Laidler. I'm an executive consultant with Ambit. I do this call for a couple of reasons. One, because I passionately believe that the number one silver bullet in this business, and I know it ranges across all the other leaders, but this one is my opinion, is that the number one silver bullet in this business is to have structure in your business. And so you don't start your week with, I really should do something with my Ambit business. I know people talk about the why being the silver bullet, and I agree that is very, very important. But you can have the best why, but if you don't have a planned week, you won't do it. I mean, I didn't have a why at school, but I showed up. I showed up every day on time. Well, usually, as long as I wasn't being a naughty boy and being sent to the principal. But I showed up every day, and I succeeded at school for exactly that reason. That if I didn't, the principal would be saying to me, "Hoit, you naughty boy." Although we call them headmaster in England. You have principals here. We have headmasters, and if we didn't show up, we were sent to the headmaster. And we were back in the day where you get a spanked bottom for being a naughty boy. So we certainly didn't want that. Now, I'm not suggesting, I'm not a proponent of handing out spanked bottoms for people who are not doing what they're supposed to be doing in their Ambit business. Actually, you know what? Maybe we should. Maybe that's a whole new training thing that we should do, is that, no, let's not go there. Moving on. But before we dive into the call, I just want to make sure I welcome everybody. We've got a lot of new callers on the call. Welcome. And give yourself a pat on the back for taking an hour, probably the most important hour out of your week to prepare your Ambit business. Because if you prepare, if you plan, then you've got a chance of being successful. If you don't plan, then you're just putting the success in the lap of the gods. And before I even kind of dive into anything else, I've made myself a cup of tea. And as I've always told you, us English chaps who like a cup of tea, it's not in a big glass with ice. This is in a nice cup and saucer. My finger is raised, and lovely cup of tea. Fixes everything. You know, if you've had a bad day, a nice cup of tea fixes everything. My mum always used to say that. But anyway, let's tonight. Okay, so first of all, I should share with you that I had someone who's going to be a guest on the call. They weren't able to make it last minute. And so I'm going to, what I try to do every few weeks, every couple of months or 3 or 4 months, I'll do a call where I just talk about the structure. I don't have a guest on the call, and we talk about the structure and making sure that we put that structure in. However, that actually won't take the full time. If any of you have any particular invites that you're struggling with or would need some help with, I invite you to drop me a text. I can unmute you. You can come in on the call, and I'll help you put an invite together if we have time. Or if you have any questions, drop me a text. I try to keep this call totally interactive. I don't want it to just, hit mute and everybody has to shush and listen to me drone on and on and on. I like it to be interactive, especially if I don't have a guest. But again, tonight what I want to do is basically get straight into the purge structure. Now, first of all, let's talk about, I'm not trying to train you anything different than the normal Ambit system. The Ambit system is proven. It has worked for 11 years for many seniors and executives and nationals in the business, and created some great wealth for individuals. We're not changing that one bit. That is still the written list. It's still the invitation, the presentation, the three-way call validation, and the decision. That's what we do all the time. What this call is all about, as I say, is to make sure that we don't start our week with I really should do something with my Ambit business. This business is simple to do right. It's simple to do wrong, but it's simplest not to do at all. And that is the reason why most people fail in their Ambit business. It's actually hard to fail. Actually, you can't fail. You can only quit in an Ambit business. I can fail in a restaurant if I didn't have enough customers coming in to pay my bills in the restaurant. I can fail. But in this business, you basically, it's $24.95 a month, and that's really your only expense. You can't really fail. You can only ever quit. And the reason why you'll quit is because you're not getting results. And if you're not doing what you need to do on a daily basis, you won't get results, so you will quit. Now, there are 4 speeds that you can build your business. I do hear some leaders talk about the only way to build an Ambit business is with massive positive action. And I certainly wouldn't challenge that in any way. I completely agree that that is a way and the best way to build an Ambit business, without question. But personally, I certainly didn't have time when I started to give a business like this massive positive action. I wanted the business to work, but I didn't have the time to do the massive positive action of the 10 calls a day or 20 calls a day and all of these appointments. I just didn't have time. And I know that I'm speaking for many people out there. And so when I heard that that was the only way to build it, I felt a little down about that. But now, having been in the business for 8 years, I believe that there are 4 speeds to build a business, and only one of them doesn't work. Okay, so the best way to build it is with massive positive action. And we're talking, I can see we've got executive consultant Miguel de Siqueira on the call, and I know he does massive positive action. He talks about 10 calls, 15 calls a day, and that's why that guy's on the 5-star trips and being as successful he is, and I'm happy to say a great friend of mine. But there are 3 other speeds as well. The PURGE system, we talk about a couple of calls a day and 1 accountability call, and that's proactive calls going out there. That's what we do on the PURGE structure. That's what I would talk about being part-time. There is another part-time as well. For those of you who are either scared to make calls or just don't have time, there is another part-time way of building the business, and this is actually how I got myself to senior and pretty much on the way to EC, which was being reactive. I didn't do enough calls when I started this business. I was super busy running 3 restaurants. I had lots and lots and lots to do, which, again, you guys do. But I promised myself that if I heard pain, if someone says, gosh, I hate my boss, or I can't make my mortgage payment, or whatever that pain is, I've just got a divorce, or my wife's pregnant, anything like that, I promised myself, and I wrote it on my mirror, if I hear pain, I will offer help. And the help I would offer is to take a look at something I'm doing, i.e. the Ambit business, see if it's something that will help you make a little extra money or give you a little bit of extra time. That's a part-time, but that's reactive. That's reacting to some pain that you've seen. So we've got massive positive action. We've got proactive action of 2 calls a day, which is what we do on the PURGE structure. And then we have a reactive situation, which is where you're reacting to pain that you hear. And then there's the 4th one, which is spare time. And this is the one that doesn't work. If you're sitting and waiting for spare time, I mean, who on this call, who has spare time? And if you're sitting and waiting for it, it won't come, so you won't do it. So spare time, forget it, not going to work. So it's going to be one of the 3 other speeds. Okay, so pick one and be fair with yourself. Don't beat yourself up like I did if you can't do the massive positive action, because those other 2 speeds work well. And as I say, the PURGE call is based upon part-time. Okay, so now let's talk about the mindset but when we get into the system. Again, if you've got people who are on this call or people who are new in your team, I will always talk about the mindset. And I'm going to sit down and ask them, what do they want from this business? Do they want a few extra $100, or do they want to, get financial freedom, or do they want to get to $50,000 a month? All of those things are possible and more. But I need to know what they want from this. If someone's coming into the business and just needs an extra $300 a month just to make sure they get their car payment done, then they're going to need different attention than someone who needs to make $50,000 a month. They're going to need a little bit more time. And so, first of all, I will sit down and I'll manage my expectations for them and manage their expectations for what they need to do in the business with me. But I'm assuming that person, everybody who joins the business, I'm making a pretty good assumption they want to have a successful business. And I'm assuming everybody in this call wants to have a successful business. So I'm assuming that. Okay, so based upon that, what I also try to do is to say, I try to sit with that person and say, look, let's make one decision to be successful in this business, not a decision every time there's a business presentation or a decision every time there's a training coming up. Let's just make one decision. I've started my Ambit business. I'm going to make this thing successful. I'm going to put this amount of time in my business. Let's say it's the purge call structure, as we know, and I'm going to get to it in more detail. There's a couple of calls a day, one accountability call a day. Okay? So I'm going to make one decision, and then add to that, by the way, a business presentation once a week and a team call, something like this, the purge call or a team call that you have. So 2 calls a day, 1 accountability call a day, 1 business presentation, and 1 or 2 team calls. That's about 30 to 60 minutes a day. So I'll sit down with that new consultant and say, let's make one decision that that's what you're going to do. Let's not make a decision each time you need to make that call or each time the business presentation comes up. That's important because if you make it, when you've started your business, that's when you're fired up. That's when you're going to make the right decision. But if you're constantly relying on making the right decision every time there's something to do, you're going to be influenced by your moods. On a good day, you'll do it, but on a bad day, you probably won't. Or if you're tired, you won't. Make one decision. So we're talking about mindset here right now. So I'm assuming you want to be successful. To be successful, you're going to need to make one decision that I'm going to make this successful. I'm going to put it out into the universe, what I would call as a postulate, which is I am going to make this business successful, whether it be $300 a month or $50,000 a month. That's what I'm going to do. The other 2 mindsets is we always work on a power of 3. Which is something that I'm always working with national consultant Frank Schmaling on, is basically that when you look at the business presentation, we always talk about there's that one slide which shows 3 people, 3 consultants getting 3 consultants getting 3 consultants, and everybody getting 2 customers each in Texas and 3 customers each outside of Texas. And that's a great way to build a business. The 526, whilst it's a good way to get promoted, if you're doing the 526, then what you're really working on is getting 2, getting 2, getting 2. And I believe that is not as efficient as 3, getting 3, getting 3. For example, if you look at the bottom right-hand number on that one slide, when you're getting 3, getting 3, getting 3 with 2 customers each, there's $11,570, I think it is, in residual income a month. Whereas if you get 2, do the 526, and you get 2, getting 2, getting 2, getting 2, that residual income is about $1,600. Still very nice, but it's 10 times more if you get 3, getting 3 rather than 2, getting 2. Make sense? So we always work on a power of 3. We get 3, getting 3. So we can, because everybody can get a couple of customers, themselves and mom, dad, brother, sister, neighbor, whatever it is. We can get our 2 customers, and we can all, over time, find 3 people who are sick and tired and want to find something else, whether it be because you're just listening for some pain, whether it be because you're proactively making calls, whether it be because you're giving a massive positive action. We can all find 3 consultants who are going to build a business. We then teach them to do the same thing. Get yourself a couple of customers and help them find 3, okay? So 3, getting 3, getting 3. Again, a lot of you have heard of all of this. I'm explaining this for those who are new in the business. Also, I'm going to make sure this recording is available, so if you want to play the recording for anybody new, that's also that's also the reason why I'm doing this particular call. Then the other mindset is I don't want anybody to have any emotional ties to the outcome of any business presentations. I don't know if any of you have ever done any trading. I did some trading and failed miserably because I would look at the trade and I would see it going up and be excited, and as soon as it started to go down, which by definition it will, I started to freak out or panic, and I would then sell too soon. Or if it dropped down below what I paid for it, I'd say, oh, it's going to turn around. It's going to turn around, and it goes down and down and down. And I would trade emotionally. I stopped doing that pretty darn quickly. But there are trading systems out there that basically get you in at a certain price and out at a certain price no matter what. And it takes all the emotion out. And that's what we need to do in our Ambit business. We do not need to be emotionally tied to the outcome. And that's hard to do sometimes. There's a certain person where you think, oh, if she joins the business, she'll be great. She will get me to senior consultant on her own. And then she says, you know what, I don't like these businesses. I did this business. I failed miserably. I don't like it. And it takes the wind out of your sails. We do not need to be emotionally tied to the outcome because we are going to work on pure formula. And you saw on the Facebook page that I'm going to show you exactly what that formula is based upon real numbers that I've been doing on this purge call. This purge call has been going for over 2 years now, and I'm using actual figures, actual numbers from those purge calls to show you how you can get to EC in 18 months, just doing the 2 calls a day. Okay, so our mindset is, well, I'm going to assume you want a successful business. We're going to make one decision right at the very beginning. And if you're in your business now and you're a senior or an executive, but you're still not structured in your week, you can also look in the mirror and say, you know what, from today, I'm going to make one decision. We've got Ambition coming up in August, and everybody on this call can get to their next promotional position. Maybe it's a little harder for some of the new ECs to get to NC, but everybody else, whether you're an MC, RC, or an SC, you can get to your next position. You can promote your next position by ambition. Make a decision today. I'm going to do that. Okay, so again, one important thing is to get that decision done and make one decision. We're going to work on a power of 3, and we're not going to be emotionally tied to anything, to whether someone joins our business or not. Okay, so with that being said, what is the purge call structure? Okay, and this is what's very important. This is for when you're sitting there and you've started your Ambit business, you're super excited, you've watched the videos, you've sat down, you've been trained how to do this and how to do that. It doesn't mean anything if you don't put structure in your week. And again, the analogies I'm always using is everybody on this call has graduated high school. Maybe there's 1 or 2 that haven't. I always go, whenever I do a training, there's 300 or 400 or 500 people. There'll always be 1 or 2 that haven't, but the vast majority have. And graduating high school is pretty tough to do. You know, you're basically going to be in school from 8 years old all the way up to 18 years old, and obviously you've got kindergarten, whatever your system here is in the US. It's slightly different than the UK. But fundamentally, you're going to be at school for 10 years, going to school every single weekday, Monday through Friday, from 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, whenever you start school, all the way through to 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And you're going to be in math at 9 o'clock, and English at 10 o'clock, and then you're going to be doing history at 11 o'clock or whatever. Then you've got recess, you have lunch, you're told where to be, almost what to eat. Maybe you'll get a little time off, and then in the afternoon you're back, you're doing physics, chemistry, or games, or whatever it is. But you have to be there, and you have to be there on time. And if you're not, you are absent. And those absentees are reported to the principal, or to the teacher, or to whoever's taking care of you, or to your parents. But that is the reason why everybody on this call will have succeeded at school, is because you had to show up. And so that's what we're doing on this in this purge call is for all of the great training, we're just making sure you show up. Okay, so so what we're doing on this purge call is the 3rd speed. Remember I was telling you, it's a proactive approach, and we're doing a couple of calls a day and 1 accountability call a day. It's about 30 to 60 minutes a day, although, again, as I was saying before the call started, senior consultants Dave and Lynn Nutt, I asked them actually how many minutes they would spend doing those couple of calls a day. And Dave was saying, well, sometimes it really is just a few minutes to get the call done. Hey, I want you to take a look at this business. Let's get together. Okay, let's do it on Friday this week. Great, thanks very much. And he went back to work. It really can literally take just a few minutes a day. Okay, so we're talking 30 to 60 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and you'll get to EC in 18 months. All right, so here's the formula. Here's what we do. I'm going to have a quick look. I'm getting some. Okay, fantastic. I'm just getting some text and making sure that I answer any questions that are coming through. All right, so what we're doing. So first of all, someone's just got started in the business. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have them approach the warmest people on their list. So I'm not really working on the written list too much. I want them to start thinking and start working on a written list. But really initially at the beginning, we want them talking to the easiest people to talk to so they can kind of get some practice and just get the family out of the way. Now, some of you have lovely families who will listen and think, oh, this is great. I'm glad they're doing something. I'm glad they're trying to make their life better, and I'm glad that they're making sure that they're saving, makes them more money so they can get the college funds for their new baby. Some families are like that, and other families are like, what are you doing? Are you trying another one of these? They're just going to be just a family that just want to bring you down. And there's other families that are somewhere in the middle. So here's what we're going to do is I'm going to coach you on how to basically show those people who are closest to you, whether they are super negative or whether they're super positive. If they're positive, then it's really simple. It's like, hey, Mom, I've just started. You know that I wanted to get. So again, we don't necessarily have to be in a hurry, by the way. But if you want to practice, say, look, Mom, I'm just on my way out to work, but I wanted to let you know. You know that Sally and I, we've got a little baby coming on the way. I just want to make sure that we've got our college fund put together for him. And so Sally and I have just started a new business. We're really excited about it. And I want you to take a look at it so that you know what we're doing when we're not available on a Thursday night. What are you doing on Saturday after whatever? And I want to show you a video of what we're doing, and so you just know what we're doing. So we're just exposing it to people. You could even put in there, it may be something you want to do, Mum. I know you've been looking for something yourself, but I just want you to see what I'm doing. So positive, it's going to be really easy because Mum's going to say, sure, yeah, I'd love to take a look. I know my mum would always take a look. But it's really the negative families that are that really need the coaching, the ones that are just going to be like, oh, God, what are you doing? And the way to do that is right at the very beginning is take it away 100% from those folks. So let's say you've got a brother who's just missed a naysayer, and you started something because, you're 26 years old and you wanted to get that Ducati. Okay, let's stop talking about us old folks and we need to get retirement done. Let's talk about some young folks. They want to get a Ducati. He's been looking. It's one of his dreams, and he really wants to get it. And he says, and his name's Sam, and he says to Max, hey, Max, listen, I've just got to go to work right now. But I wanted to get that Ducati. Well, I'm really excited. I found a way that I'm going to get it paid for. And I've started a new business. Now, listen, I know you're not going to do it. I know you don't do these things, but I want you to know what I'm doing so that you can, refer me if you need to. So what are you doing after work today? I've got a video that you can take a look at. So if you take it away from him completely, then that's fine, because at the end of the day, all we want him to do is just to take a look. Because no matter how much Max is a naysayer, once he looks at this video, sometimes the video will speak to people. And even if he looks at it and thinks, no, it's not my cup of tea, you've already told him it's not going to be his cup of tea, right? You've already said, look, I know it's not going to be your thing, so he can't steal any power from you. He can't mock you. He can't, because he's already said, I know it's not going to be your thing. So for those who are, close family, and you want to make sure that you want everybody to know what you're doing. Those who are nice and lovely, just show them the business, just show them what they're doing, and it may be that it's something they want to do with you or not. But if not, then can they just refer people to you? But those who are negative, just put in that invite 100% takeaway. Listen, I know this is not going to be something you want to do, because then that takes all of that sting out of them thinking, oh, no, you're not doing one of those again. All right? You can take that away, okay? So that's how we deal with the warmest people in our ambit, or in our circle of influence. Now what we're doing is now we're getting into the meat of our business, which is now we've got to build more people. The only way to build an ambit business is to have more people join your team. Now remember, we're only looking for our 3, because we're going to help those 3 get their 3 and 3 and getting 3 and 3 getting 3 and this type of thing. But now we're outside of it. We've run through our really, really warm list. Now what we need to do is to do the true Ambit system, and we start that by building a written list. And the written list is basically your inventory. And I often speak with national consultants, Frank Schmeling, and executive consultants, Kevin and Rose Duncan. I know they both use this rule of 4. And what they'll do is say, okay, I'm going to give you 4 minutes, and I want you to write everybody down who you work with. Ready, go. And they start writing the names down. They're thinking about getting as much done as within 4 minutes, and then it stops them thinking, oh, they would do it, they wouldn't do it. No, I'm not sure about that person. Just write the names down no matter who it is. And when you stop the clock, go, great, okay. Now people that you knew from college, 4 minutes. Don't think about whether they're going to do it or not. go. And you start doing it again. It makes it a little bit of a game, and it doesn't take very long, and you've got a list of 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, 200 people on that list, and you're constantly going to be adding to that list. Okay, so we've talked about our written list. Now what I want you to do is I want to make sure everybody on this call and everybody you bring into the business to have an accountability partner. Because remember I was talking about why you're successful at high school? It's because that principal will know when you're not there. If you are relying on just you making sure you show up, then you'll give yourself all sorts of reasons why you don't have to, and you certainly won't give yourselves a hard time if you don't show up. So you need to have someone else who's going to be your accountability partner. And that accountability partner is great because they can also be the person helping you build a written list. I will sit with new people and help them build their new list because I'm going to be their accountability partner. Okay? So we've got our accountability partner, we've got our written list. All right, so now what are we going to do? Maybe we're going to get the memory jogger from the Ambit U, which is the training in the back office on the Power Zone. The memory joggers are great. There's all sorts of lists. You know, who do you know who drives a BMW? Who do you know? There's actually one which always makes me laugh. Who do you know who's an exotic dancer? I do have an exotic dancer in my business, which is kind of interesting. Who do you know who's an airline captain? Obviously, regional consultant Javier Heredia is an airline captain. Who do you know who's a doctor? Who do you know? Who do you know who? Oh, I don't know. Who was your best man? Who do you know who was your maid of honor? All of those things. It just makes you think, and it's really interesting. Once you get the juice going, once you start the things moving, then it's amazing how the names start to flow. So you just want to start things going. And again, get yourself to 50, 100, 200 names is amazing. All right, so now we've got our accountability partner. We've got our written list. Now what we need to do is we need to score that written list. I want to prioritize that list because there are some trainers out there that will just say there's one invite for everybody, and that's fine. I respect everybody's opinion, but I don't believe there is. I think everybody needs – let me finish that train of thought. Everybody needs a different invite. Now, even though they're different, there's probably still only 3 or 4 approaches you're going to take, but sometimes there is an invite that is really personalized. I think it's really, 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 really important, okay? And the only way you're going to do that is to give each of those people some thought. And so what we're going to do is the written list that we've got, let's say it's the first time around, let's say we've got 86 people on our list. What I'm going to do, we can't do this necessarily all at once, but we want to score that list, and we're going to do it using what we call the E.R.I.C.A system, okay? And the E.R.I.C.A is basically an acronym for 5 different characteristics that we're going to score from 1, and 1 being the lowest, to 3, 3 being the highest. And the E of E.R.I.C.A is how entrepreneurial are they? Okay, well, what's your guide? And so what you want to do is maybe compare them to yourselves. Are they more entrepreneurial than me or less entrepreneurial than me? If they're more, give them a 3. If they're less, give them a 1. And if they're about the same, or you're not sure, give them a 2. Okay, it's not a science, but it does mean that you sit down and you think about it. Then we're going to go to the R. And R is how resourceful are they? Not how much money have they got. What I mean is, are they one of those people who can fix a problem, or are they just someone who's a victim and complains? Okay, someone who's a resourceful person thinking, okay, my car broke down, I've got to fix it. I've got to work out how I'm going to get this done. And he gets it done. He just does it. Or that other person who just sits in the car and cries, going, my God, it's broken down, and calls someone to come and fix it for them. So again, if they're a resourceful person, give them a 3. If they tend to be more of a victim, give them a 1. If they're about the same as you, give them a 2. I is influence. How many people do they know? Have you got a lonely wallflower, who's a librarian? Nothing against librarians. I love librarians. All you librarians out there, I love you. Maybe they give them a 1. And then on the other side, if you've got someone who's a social butterfly, super extrovert, give them a 3. Again, if they're the same as you, give them a 2. All right, then we've got C. C is for city. Whereabouts are they? If they're local to you, or if you're up in New York, like my wonderful, lovely, gorgeous, fantastic friend Rebecca, who I know is on the call. Hello, lovely. If you're up there in New York and your prospect is in New York, then give them a 3, because it's just easier to work with someone you can get face-to-face with. If they're in-state but a little bit further away, give them a 2. If they're out of state or out of country, give them a 1. Again, everyone's going to get a call. Everyone's going to get a call, but we just want to make sure we get the good people first in our business so we build quickly. The last one is A for attitude. So we've got E.R.I.C.A. A is for attitude. If they've got a good attitude, give them a 3. If they've got a bad attitude, or not even a bad attitude, but just one of those who are just like kind of okay, just going through life, give them a 1. If they've got a bad attitude, I'd give them a 0. And if anybody gets a 0 on any of those scores, I'm actually going to make the choice probably not to call them, because I do not want those negative Nellies in my business. It's nothing more draining in your business than if you've got someone who's constantly finding reasons why they can't do things, as opposed to people who find reasons why they can do things. Okay, so this is our list. We've got our 87 names, I think I said. We've scored them using the E.R.I.C.A system. Again, E.R.I.C.A, we're scoring the lowest at 1, the highest at 3, which means that the best people will score 15, and the lowest are probably going to be scoring somewhere between an 8 or a 9 or a 10 or whatever. And if you put them into a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet or whatever, and you've got this all done, when you hit the top of the column on the spreadsheet in the total score, it'll sort them in ascending order. So all the top people go to the top. So all the good scoring people get to the top of your list, like the cream rising to the top of the milk. That's what's going on here. And we do that for a reason, a couple of reasons actually. First one is to make sure that we speak to the best people first. We want those good people in our business so they can help us build our business, get us, because as they're building, obviously we're building as well. But secondly, I want to make sure that people who are on your chicken list are going to get a call, because so many people out there, you've all got people on your chicken list who are not getting a call, and they're on your chicken list because they're probably really successful. They're probably really good at what they do, and you're frightened for a couple of reasons. Number one, you're worried about what they're going to think. But secondly, you're probably thinking, I really, really want them to join, but I don't want to tell them no. Well, you know what? Unless you ask them, they're a no anyway, okay? But the thing is, if we have our written list and we score it using the E.R.I.C.A system, then all of those good people are probably going to score high, and they'll go up to the top of your list. So now what we've got is we've got a written list. We've got a really valuable, thought-about written list. Now what we're going to do is put in our daily and weekly method of operation. Excuse me. What we're going to do now is we're going to make 2 calls. We're going to take 10 names from the top of the list. The 10 names, not ones you choose. You're not going to go and find 10 names and then score them. No, you have your written list. You score everybody. The top 10 names come down, no matter who they are, even if every single one of them is in your chicken list. We want to make sure those people get a call, because even if they're on your chicken list, we put invites together in such a way that they're not scary to call anymore. We have a specific invite to make sure that even the scariest person you can invite comfortably, okay? So we've got our written list. We've scored it using the E.R.I.C.A system. We're going to take the top 10 names, and now you're ideally sitting with your accountability partner, and now you're going to work out an invite for each one of those people on the list. And when we're putting an invite together, usually that's what we're doing on this call with my special guests. They will give me a name, and they'll tell me about that particular person. Maybe, I'll say, maybe I'm dealing with a consultant, Sally. Okay, Sally, who's the first person on your list? Okay, so there's a girl who I work with who I want to show the business to. I'll say, okay, well, tell me about her. How old is she? Is she married? Does she have children? Do you know of any kind of pain that she has? Does she like her job? Does she hate her job? Does she regret having a job because she'd rather be at home with her kids? Just learn about them. We're not looking for pain, in a mean way. We're looking for reasons why she might want to look at something like an Ambit business to help that pain go away. So it's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. And basically what I'm going to do, once I've got that information from Sally, is we're going to put an invite together based on 6 criteria. And for those of you who are on the call, write these 6 criteria down. And as I go through it, if you're first listening to this, it may sound a little complicated. It's not. It's something that works week after week after week on this call. We have a very, very successful. Everybody who comes on this call has either their best week ever or certainly one of their best weeks on this call of the people that I work with, because we use these invites. There's something really great about the invites. So the 6 things that we're going to work on an invite is, number 1 is always be in a hurry. The reason why we want to be in a hurry is that it helps us get off the call if we need to. Because the dreaded words, when we've invited someone, the dreaded words are, what is it? What have you got? And if you don't have a way of getting off that call, you get dragged into trying to explain what that business is. And even if you're experienced, it comes across that you've literally just drank the latest Kool-Aid and you're trying to get someone into the latest cult from Waco. So you don't want to do that. So you want to find a nice, easy way. And if you're in a hurry, at the beginning of your invite, that helps you off the call as quickly as possible. Hey, listen, Sally, I'm a little bit of a hurry right now. I've got to get on a conference call, but I've been meaning to give you a call this week. Do you have a couple of seconds? Okay? So then when she says, what is it? I'll say, listen, I've got to get on that conference call. That's why I wanted to arrange an appointment with you. Are you still good for Friday? Whatever. Okay? So be in a hurry. That hurry will save you. It will save you from the worst feeling ever when you get dragged into a presentation on the phone. Number 2 is your why. The reason why we have a why is because we want people listening with their heart and not with their ears. So, for example, I have a couple of sons, Sam and Max. I used them as an example earlier on. They're actually very positive. They're not negative like I was kind of making out, but they're very positive. I have a couple of sons, and I wanted to make sure that I got their college funds paid for. I do not want kids to start their life with 80 grand in debt, like the government seems to want us to do, but we won't go there. Okay, so if I'm chatting to, I've got George Jenkins on the call. He's senior consultant, great friend of mine. We meet every week when we can, but he knows me, and he hopefully he loves me and wants the best for me and for my family. If I said, hey George, listen, I'm in a little bit of a hurry right now. I've got Sam and Max. Sam's grown up now, but Max is in college. I'm really worried that he's going to come out of college with 80 grand worth of debt. And so I've started a new business. Okay, so I'm going to then talk about that. But now I'm talking about Sam. George knows me. We're good friends. We're talking about Max. He's interested in my son, even though he's not necessarily met Max. I talk about him. He's now listening with his heart and not his ears. Okay, not his head. He's listening with his heart and not his head. And so that's why we have why. So we've been in a hurry. Now our why. Number 3 now is the hook. So I started a new business that I'm really excited about, because not only is it going to get Max's college fund paid for, but it's actually really bolstering my retirement too. Really exciting, right? So I've been in a hurry. I told George about Max, my son. I don't want him to have college debt. So I started a new business project that I'm really excited about. It's working very well for me in the DFW area. And it's not only going to get Max's college funds paid, but it's also going to really bolster my retirement. That's pretty exciting. Okay, so now number 4 on the list. So not being in a hurry, then it was my why, then number 3 was the hook. Number 4 on my list is why I'm calling George. So George, why am I calling you? Okay, so I've just said I've started a new business project that I'm really excited about. It's going to get Max's college funds paid for and bolster my retirement. But here's the reason why I'm calling you, George. A couple of reasons. First of all, I just want you to know what I'm doing, because obviously every business needs to be networked, and I'm always looking for referrals. If you understand what I'm doing, maybe if you know someone who's looking for what I do, then maybe you could send them my way. Be nice and gentle. But secondly, George, I know you're a little older than I am. George is a little older than I am, and he's heading well towards retirement. George, I know you've been looking for something that can really bolster your retirement too, and I think you should take a look at this, because I think this might work for you. Hear the nuance of the words. I think this might work for you. It's very non-pressure. You should definitely do this because it's going to help you with your retirement. Is pushy. In my book, it's too much and it's unnecessary. I think this may really be something you'll be interested in. Maybe. The nuance of the maybe is important. Okay? So number 4 was the purpose. I want you to take a look at this so you can understand what I'm doing, and maybe you can refer. But also, and I'm relating also his why to my why, this may be something you'd be interested in, because I know, George, you've been looking to bolster your retirement, like I am too, and this may be something that you're interested in. Okay? So that's number 4, 2 parts. Number 5 is the takeaway. this is like number one. It protects you. The takeaway is, listen, George, I don't know if it's going to be your cup of tea or not. I don't know if it's going to be up your alley. I don't know if it's going to be your thing or not. So however you want to say that, you're most comfortable saying whichever one you want to say. Because what that does is then he relaxes. He knows that I'm not trying to convince him of everything. And I might, in George's case, add a little bit something. I may say to George, hey, listen, it may or may not be your cup of tea, and that's perfectly fine. My friendship with you is more important than any business. I may even add something like that. But then I'm going to get to number 6. And number 6, now we're not talking about mights and maybes and would you be. Now we're going to be intentional. Because now we really want to make sure we get some time set aside where they're going to take a look. So, George, what are you doing after? Now, what would I say? So with George, I say, hey, George, what are you doing Friday afternoon? I'm going to be finished work about 4 o'clock. I'm going to be down in Preston Forest. I know you live just around the corner there. There's a corner bakery there. Let's get together. Let me show you what I'm doing and see if it makes sense for you. But I'm really intentional about that. Everything prior to that was nice and gentle, maybe mights and all those nuances of those nice words. But number 6, the intentional setting of the time, there is no maybes, no mights. And I may even do an alternative close. So the whole invite leading up to an alternative close would sound something like this. Hey, George, I'm in a little bit of a hurry right now. I've got to get onto a call. Do you have a couple of minutes? Do you have a couple of minutes shows that I respect his time as well. And he'll say yes. I say, well, look, you remember I was telling you about Max going up to college up in Denton? I'm really worried. We kind of got some idea of what debt he's going to be in if we don't help him out. And I want to make sure he leaves college without debt. So I've started a new business project. I'm really excited about it. Not only is it going to get his college funds paid for, but it's actually going to bolster my retirement. Now, the reason why I'm calling you, George, a couple of reasons. First of all, I just want you to know what I'm doing so that if you're able to refer me to people, that would be great. Whatever you can do to help would be great. But secondly, George, I know you're in retirement right now, and I know you were looking to bolster that as well. This may actually be something that would make sense for you too. I don't know if it's going to be your cup of tea, George, and truly, that's perfectly fine. Your friendship with me is much more important than any kind of business. But what are you doing on Friday lunchtime? We can meet at the corner bakery on Preston and Forest. And if that's tough for you, maybe we could meet after church on Sunday. Which one will be better for you? So that's basically how I'm putting the invite together. So I've spent a little bit of time on that because it's important. There were those 6 items. So if you've got your written list, you've got the information on all those people in that written list, you can put an invite. Anybody can put an invite together for those people, and that invite works. The numbers that we get from these purge calls is incredible. The number of people who are having their best weeks on this, the number of people who are saying, yeah, I'll take a look, is incredible. And so the invite must be good. It must be working well. Okay, so now what we've got, and then what we're going to do, by the way, is we're going to write that invite down. So each person we're going to invite, remember there's only 10 names, and we're taking an hour of our time out on Sunday like we're doing right now. We're going to take an hour out, and we're going to put that invite down to 10 names. So on Monday morning, you are not saying, I really should do something with my Ambit business this week. You are saying, there's my list of 10 names, and there are the invites that I'm feeling very comfortable about saying to people to invite them to take a look at the business. You've got 10 names. You've got 5 days of the week because I'm going to give you the weekend off because I'm lovely like that. And we're going to do 2 calls on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday, 2 on Friday, and that's your 10 calls. What you're also going to be doing is 1 accountability call. Remember I said at the beginning of this call, have an accountability partner. And that is the principal. That is your boss at work. That is your principal. I'm talking analytically. I can't remember. It's an analogy. I'm obviously not saying it's really your principal. You don't want your principal to necessarily be your real accountability partner because, well, you just don't want them. Just have an accountability partner. It doesn't have to necessarily be a senior or an executive. Ideally, it'd be better if you can, but not all of you have had access to that. I know when I started, I didn't have much interaction with my executive consultant, and there were 2 of us. My first guy I brought on was an MC, and I was an MC, and we were accountable to each other. We couldn't train each other, But we did, we would also report back and say, I got a customer today, or I got a consultant, or whatever. Okay? So accountability partner, you're going to get your 2 calls done a day, and you're going to get your accountability call done in the evening. And I don't want you, by the way, while you're sitting here listening to my lovely, wonderful English dulcet tones, don't just sit there listening to me. Sit there listening to me and thinking, I need to apply this to my business. I don't care whether you're an MC or an EC. And I know I've got ECs on this call, and they're on this call every Sunday, and I really appreciate you being there. But I know how I am. Remember, I was telling you at the beginning of this call why I do this call is because I believe it is the number one best silver bullet. There's a second reason why I do this call. The second reason, it keeps me accountable, because I'm a naughty boy sometimes too, and I don't get the calls done. And if I need to be accountable. If I'm suggesting to you guys that you should be doing this in your business and I'm not doing it, then what sort of EC am I? What sort of leader am I? What sort of helper am I? So I do this call for 2 reasons. Number 1, because I do believe that structure is the secret of success in this business. But number 2, I'm keeping myself accountable. I do 2 calls a day at least. I write my invites down. It's usually just jotted notes that I write down. I do what I'm asking you guys to do. And I do this call so you guys can keep me accountable. All right, so we've got all of these things done. We've got our accountability partner. We've got our written list. We've scored it using the E.R.I.C.A system. We've got our top 10 names. We've now put great invites together, personalized to each one of those 10 folks on our list. We're doing 2 calls a day, Monday through Friday, 1 accountability call, and then the following Sunday. So if I was dealing with someone today, the following Sunday we're going to purge our list. That's why this is called the Purge Call. It's because we want to make sure that we don't have the same names hanging around, coming up week after week after week. Oh, she said she'd do it. He said he'd be in my business. Oh, my God, he'd be so great if he joined my business. No. We want to make sure, as best as we can, we have a fresh set of 10 names week after week after week. Okay, so next Sunday we're going to purge our list. The yeses we're going to plug into this same system. If you like the purge structure, we're going to get them plugged into a business presentation, and we're going to do those things that I talked about at the beginning of the call. Those who are no are usually not yet, so I'm going to put them on a drip list for a call back in 3 to 6 months. If they've seen the business, I'm probably going to give them 6 months before I call them back again. But I am going to kind of just drip things every now and again. I'm certainly going to name their friend on Facebook so I see what's going on in their life, because if something happens between now and 6 months' time when he lost his job and he said something on Facebook, I'm getting back to him, because now the business might make some more sense. So that's a little tip for those who have said no because they mean not yet. And those who are maybe, we're going to get them to a yes or a no, ideally within 24, 48 hours. We want to help them make a decision. We don't want, as Brian McClure always talks about, to someone to be a someday life. We want to make sure that it's a yes or a no, because if it's a yes, then awesome, we can get them in the business. If it's a no, then they can stop worrying about an Ambit business and start looking for something that does suit them. There's going to be plenty of millionaires made out there that are not necessarily with Ambit. So this may not be the right business for people. So we want to make sure that even the maybes get to a yes or a no as quickly as possible. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to go to our list and pick the next top 10 names. We're not picking and choosing. It's just the next top 10 names that scored on our list. And we're going to do exactly the same thing all over again. Now, some people will need to follow up. The people we spoke to this week will need following up. I know with my Purge call victim consultants that I work with on this call, very often they make appointments, and it might be a week away or 2 weeks away or whatever. So we're going to be doing that. But that's what the structure is. And it's critical that you put that structure in your business. Again, I've not taught you anything different than the Ambit system. The Ambit system is invitation, presentation, written list, invitation, presentation, validation, which is the 3-way call, and then you have the decision at the end of the day. Okay, so now what we've got is the perfect Ambit system. We've got structure to tell us what to do on Monday morning. I find it nothing more frustrating than when I go to a training, which is just stories and theory. Give me what to do on Monday morning. Give me what to do on Tuesday morning. I want to have a successful business. So now with that being said, remember I told you that you can get to EC in 18 months if you do this simple system. Now, if you go, again, I talked about executive consultant Miguel de Figueira. He got to EC in record time. I think it was like 8 or 9 months. I can't remember. Miguel, forgive me if I've got that wrong, but super quick because he put massive positive action into his business. He's doing the same thing, but just more of it. The reason why we do the Purge call at 2 calls a day is because it's realistic for many, many more people. Not everybody is going to have certainly the why that Miguel has, but certainly but may not have the time to do a full massive positive action. I'm talking at least 10 calls a day. But he got to EC, as I say, I think about 8 months. It was unbelievably fast time, and he's been on multiple 5-star trips. And I'm talking on this Purge call is to do your top 10 names. You're doing 2 calls a day and 1 accountability call. And again, the last time, for those of you who are on the last Purge call, you heard from senior consultant Dave Nutt that it just took him just a few minutes. And then when you include a business presentation and a couple of team calls, it averages out about 30 to 60 minutes a day. If you do that, the numbers on this call are as follows. My worst case victim on this call got 5 opportunities to show the plan. Okay, 5 opportunities to show the plan. That's the worst case. That says to me that invite is pretty darn strong. Okay, if you're doing 5, hold on, I want to have this. I've written this down, so it's nice so I stay on track here. If you have 5 opportunities to show the plan, that means that in 2 weeks you'll show the plan 10 times. Okay, pure math, not opinion. This is based on 2 years of Purge call. 10 appointments on average means that if you do, and this is a big if you do the Ambit system correctly, especially the 3-way call, out of 10 showing the plans, an average consultant will get 1 consultant. Now, as you get better in the business, that'll go higher and higher, okay? And sometimes you'll do 10 showing the plans and someone didn't join, but the next 10, 3 people joined, right? So it's an average, okay? But this is based on 2 years of Purge calls. Every 10 invites you make, you get 5 opportunities to show the plan, which means every 2 weeks you've got 5 1 week, 5 the next week. You've got 10 opportunities to show the plan, which means you'll get 1 consultant. So 1 consultant every 2 weeks, which means that then to have 3 consultants, you need 6 weeks. You get that? 1 consultant in 2 weeks, 6 weeks, you'll have 3 consultants. Remember what that magic chart was that's in the business presentation that our CMO, Chris Chambers, put in there right from day one. The treasure map was there all the time. It's like one of those Nicolas Cage movies where they have this great adventure, but the treasure map was right there. The first thing you saw at the beginning of the movie, it was there all the time. That's what's the case in this case. That 3 who get 3 who get 3 is the treasure map. It's the map to the treasure. And if you can find your 3 in 6 weeks and you plug them into this same system, those 3 can get their 3 in 6 weeks too. So now you've got 3 on your first level in 6 weeks. Now you've got 12 on your second level in the next 6 weeks because your 9 on your second level and 12 total in your business because you've got your 3 plus your 3 got 3 each, right? Hopefully I'm not confusing you. I'm confusing myself. Which means that you've promoted easily to RC and you're well on your way to SC. But if you're building a level every 6 weeks because your 3 are getting their 3, then you work the math out. In 6 weeks you've got 3. In 12 weeks you've got your 12. Those 12 in the next 6 weeks have got 3 each, which is 36 plus your 3, which is 39. etc., etc., etc. You keep going down like that. In 18 months, you've got to EC. In 18 months, you've got to EC. And all you've done, you heard this at the beginning of the presentation, all you did was get your 3. Now, if you get 4 or you get 5, then all you're going to do is get there more quickly. So what I'm saying to you, what I urge you to really focus on, is everybody on this call can get to EC. It's not just the talented ones. It's not just the pretty ones. It's not just the extroverts. It's not just the this. It's the people who just applied themselves on a regular day-by-day process. And if you put this structure in of working your written list, score it using the E.R.I.C.A system, which I've explained, pulling your top 10 names down, putting an invite together for each one of those things, writing the invite down. You start Monday morning with 10 names and invites written next to them. You cannot believe how empowering that is. I know what my week looks like. It's awesome. It's like your job. You know where you're going to be in your job. You knew where you were going to be in school. If you don't have 10 names and 10 invites, you don't know where you're going in your Ambit business, and that is doomed for failure. Okay, so you've got your 10 names. You've done 2 calls a day, 1 accountability call. You've got your 10 calls done. You purge your list on Sunday and do the same next week. And if you do that week after week after week, you will be EC in 18 months. If you do more than that, you will be EC quicker than that. If you do a little less than that, you'll be slower than that, but you'll still get there. This isn't a race. Miguel got there in 8 months, but I don't feel inadequate because it took me longer than that. I got there too, just slower. It's okay. All we need to do is just make sure we get there. So I have taken up actually more time than I thought I would, but I wanted to make sure that I did a full call all about the full purge system, or the full purge structure that we do alongside the Ambit system, that you can direct people to listen to this call if you want to get them started on how to build or what to do in their week to build an Ambit business. So we're at 8:57 right now. I know the national call is going on after this. If you've got any questions, I don't have time to answer them on the call, but please do text me, and I'll be happy to text you back and answer you back. I'm always looking as well for more victims to come on this call. So if you know of anybody, if you want to throw someone under the bus, then let me know, and I'd love to have them on this call. That's about it. We're at 8:58. We've got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to pull the national call number up. I also, by the way, I've been mentioning a few times on this call that I have some technology that's really helping me get some customers, that helps me trigger my bonuses. Before, too many bonuses were getting left on the table because I didn't have, or my new consultants didn't necessarily get all 4 customers or 5 customers if you're outside Texas. I was introduced to some technology that's helping me get some more customers. It's not going crazy, but it does get me some more customers. It's some more customers that actually mean that I don't miss any bonuses right now. So I'm triggering bonuses with it. If you're interested to find out more about that, by all means, drop me a text. I'd be happy to tell you about that. Then in the meantime, I was pulling up got slightly distracted there. I was pulling up the national call number. Again, text me if you have any questions. But if you want to get on the national call number run by the number 1 income earner, Brian McClure, the number for that call is 712-432-7570. Again, 712-432-7570. And the PIN is 84877#. Again, 84877#. Okay, guys, have a great week. Please put structure in your week. Please coach your teams to put structure in their week. And I promise you, everybody on this call can get to EC in at least 18 months. That's wonderful. I really appreciate everybody getting on the call. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. This is one of the most popular calls in Ambit, and numbers are very high compared to other calls, so I really appreciate you supporting us in that way. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I'm going to turn off the record if I can find that here, so you can say goodnight to everybody.
Thank you so much, Richard. That was awesome. Thanks.
Thank you, Josephine. Lovely to hear you again.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Great call, Richard. Good night.
Thank you very much. Good night.
What is the recording number?
I'll tell you what, if you text me on 214 766
766
4613
4613
I will text it to you.
Okay, great.
But I will also put that recording number up on Facebook on EC Riders
Okay.
for those others who want to have a listen in.
Thank you so much.
You are very, very welcome. Thanks for being on the call.
My pleasure.
Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to say good night. Thank you very much again for getting on the call.